Om Bhairavaya Namaha. Om Hingulambikaya Namaha. Om Kamakyaya Namaha. Om Kalakalaya Vidmahe Kalatitaya Dhimahi Tannah Kala Bhairava Prachodayat. Namaskaram. Welcome to yet another video of our Guru Bhairava, Ishtartha Bhairava, where we get to know about him, step closer about what we know about him the last minute. Today, we would be continuing the Swarupa, the Paramaswarupa of Mahakala Bhairava. In today's topic, there is a very beautiful connected story. But before that, let me just underline few of them actually think that actually mythology is just a connection of the stories. But let me tell you, no, it is a sequence. You just need to know how our Ishtartha Guru Bhairava is connected to all those essence. How exactly his presence has made so much difference that we are still unaware. The unaware in such a way we are thinking that we whatever is being said, whatever is being told by our ancestors, we are trying to actually grab those information, but those information are not being passed from generation to generation. It's been hidden only from a parampara to parampara, or from a guru parampara to the shishya. It was being transferred. Ideally, whatever the stories is being articulated in this series or in this complete Daiva Anugraha, it is not about something trying to tell the stories which is really not interested. Trust me, every line of stories are connected, and this connection will make you aware. If you see this as a satsanga information, you see this as a Daiva Anugraha, if you see this that actually Bhairava has made you listen this, rather than if you see this as an entertainment, as a spiritual entertainment, trust me, you would only lose your time, and you will be hopping around this video to that video, from that person to this person, and ultimately you will not be able to achieve, or you will not be able to go into the vision which divine has created for us. So please connect with me such that I can share you our Ishtartha Guru Bhairava's information, such that we all listen to him, know about him, talk about him, understand his presence, which has made this life more beautiful, meaningful. So, with that note, so today we'll start our yet another video about Guru Bhairava, Mahakal Bhairava. So, this is not like past. I told about the previous eras, but yes, long ago. Basically, it is about the story about one of a well-known sadhaka who lived in the land of Dakshineswar. I believe you would be knowing about this. Dakshineswar, quite before he walked through the Dakshineswara land, and also Dakshineswara land was actually called as Panchavati. Why Panchavati? Because this was actually a cremation ground. It was a quiet cremation ground on a larger form. I'm not talking about today's era, it is about very long ago. And there used to be a greatest sadhakas who used to walk on those lands. And we are going to talk about one of a sadhaka who had connected to one of the greatest well-known sadhaka of today's age. So basically, it was a place, Dakshineswara or Panchavati. It was a place where the bodies were laid to rest from a cycle to the death. None other than the cremation ground. It was very close. It was a very close. Here, we will, in that particular cremation ground, the first information which I would like to share you is this was actually the connection between the two greatest saints. Here, the great saint Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Ramakrishna actually used to sit in the cremation grounds and used to perform the sadhana. And he used to sit in the, he used to go into the tapas in many places when it comes to the Dakshineswar. It is not one particular place. People used to call him as like a person who used to talk to himself as a yerri, as what we call it as a person who always be talking to himself. Because he used to talk directly with the Ma, but before to the Ma, his particular journey which started. This is what actually we are trying to talk about today. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, he sat in the divine tapas, trying to understand the Daiva Tattva. He was trying to call the divine energies, which is such a purity that even death itself seems to be paused at and listen to him, because he was sitting in the cremation ground. It happened one day, like it break through the stillness of the sacred. It happened in one such day that a naked, a wandering monk came into that particular bhumi of Panchavati, Dakshineswar. Here, the naked wandering woman was none other than Totapuri, the greatest monk of the mankind, who has been said that he lived more than 250 years. The storyline goes that actually he was returning from Kurukshetra. He was trying to actually complete his sadhana from Kurukshetra. He was on the way. And that moment he had lot of siddhis which he had gained it, and he had like masteries over all the five elements. But here the storyline is in a different way, where actually how he was able to vision our Guru Mahakal Bhairava. When he was trying to come all the way from the Kurukshetra to the Dakshineswara. But let me just pause a minute here, because many of them would not be knowing who is Totapuri, who is the Totapuri Maharaj, many of them would not be knowing. He is not an ordinary monk, or he is not an ordinary saint as what we see it in today's era. He was a greatest saint at that given point of time, like some Dashanami Sampradaya. He used to come from that particular Sampradaya as a Dashanami Sampradaya. This particular Sampradaya was founded by Adishankara Guru. Adishankaracharya was actually the founder of this Dashamani Sampradaya, which he was actually following from that particular lineage. And even he was a master of Nirvikalpa Samadhi. So today, if this particular word has been heard, it's all the Bhiksha of Totapuri Maharaj, which he has given these words to actually to his lineage, where people are still following it. Nirvikalpa Samadhi is the highest state of meditation, even till dated, but very few masters actually follow those. The highest meditation state where the mind is completely still, and even the senses get separated, even the five senses get separated from what exactly, and we start seeing ourselves outside of the senses, somewhat like actually it is getting disappeared. This is a state in the peak of Tantra, as well as in the Vedas. It is very beautifully been narrated, where the individual as a soul merges with a cosmic Shiva Tattva consciousness, the universal consciousness of Parama Shiva consciousness. So this Nirvikalpa Samadhi was the practice which was taught by Adishankaracharya, and he belongs to this particular lineage of Dashamani Sampradaya. Until many tantric practitioners who worshipped different types of deities, rituals, even Totapuri Maharaj taught the formless sense of Tantra. Today, if we speak about the formless type of Tantra, it was actually being disclosed or shared to this external world by Totapuri Maharaj. A pure awareness, like beyond the shape, beyond the sound, beyond how exactly the Atma get connected to the Paramatma. This particular formless essence of the Tantra was introduced and was shared by Totapuri Maharaj. This formless state is called Shunyavata or a Brahman, what we call it as a Brahman. Many of even saints, even from a down south, if you come, even in Tiruvannamalai, the Ramana Maharshi also thought this the same thing. Understanding the Brahman, understanding the Shunya Tattva is where your formless essence getting connected in a tantric way to the Shiva Tattva is a real practice of Dashamani Sampradaya. Here, we as Bhairava consciousness, we need to understand, we always talk more about bhava. It's not about the rituals. We absolutely, there are the certain rituals which we need to perform. It is somewhat like actually building up the energies. It is very essential, but it doesn't mean that it is a mandatory that 1, 2, 3 steps need to be done. Any sort of steps can be done, but there is one particular adhara. That adhara is bhava, and the bhava should be much more surrendered, much more competent to make yourself eligible to throw yourself into that practice. That is the formless essence of Tantra. Tantra doesn't mean that actually sitting in a cremation ground or sitting in some corner of the room or sitting in some corner of the place of the world where actually we started uttering certain mantras, doing with certain yantra, performing certain actions where actually outcome would become, we would be activating certain devatas. Absolutely yes, but still no. It is a formless essence of understanding about the inner connection between the Brahman, the Shunyata. This is what actually the spiritual lineage of Totapuri Maharaj was able to tell us. Totapuri Maharaj came for a very ancient and the sacred lineage. As I told you, Adishankaracharya was like the trace back to Adishankaracharya is very, very essence. Even what we talk about Advaita Vedanta and even the complete today, Sanatana is actually being governed because of the dharma which was being created by Adishankaracharya. So that was actually the power of Adishankaracharya, where he was able to teach or he was able to give certain secretive lineage information to the few people are surrounded by him. One among them was Totapuri Maharaj. Here, Adishankaracharya, he taught the non-dual truth that all is one, everything is one connected to Brahman, and the Brahman is Shiva Tattva. Shiva Tattva, in such a way, the entire cosmos is the form of Shiva Shakti. This is what actually he was able to tell us very beautifully. Before Shankaracharya, the knowledge flowed through the Vedas, and many of the sages actually and the Tantra practitioners who meditated on the pure consciousness used to use this particular way as chitta. They used to call this as a chitta. Particularly the Dashanami Samskara. Okay, Dashanami Samskara or Dashanami Sampradaya was previously being called as a chitta, and this was actually very well good practice. But here Adishankaracharya actually included many of the essence into it, such that actually the potent of content became very, very vibrant. This lineage, Totapuri's spiritual lineage, focused on a Nirguna Brahma. It is purely been thought that worshipping the formless absolute beyond all the names and mantras. This is the reason we always talk about Guru Bhairava. Bhairava, when he came to this existence, he came to teach the Brahma, the Nirguna Brahma Tattva. He was actually the Brahma for the Brahma. So we always tell, when we come from such kind of a lineage, we need to understand it is all about Guru Tattva, which is making us enlighten on this particular level. It is not about something special or a super special which is not in our experience, we will be able to know or talk about it. Maybe I can talk, but you as a person will not be able to understand unless it has come to your experience. And this experience only comes when you see a non-duality truth that all is one, all tattva, all guna, all vedanta, all the essence of the information of this creation is one. It is none other than Shakti. Shiva Shakti is the only form which created this, and that is Chitta, the pure consciousness. And the lineage of the Nirguna Brahma, the absolutely worshipping the beyond the name as well as a form, and even the lineage of Totapuri Maharaj was able to teach us to focus on inner awareness. And inner awareness is in such a way, we call this as like somewhat like antar yoga, rather than performing the external rituals. As I told you earlier, let me again underline this. External rituals are needed just to make sure you are activating the energies. You're activating the energies in such a way your connection with the Daiva gets started. But later, you're supposed to go inside. It is external, internal. Bahir, antar. So today, now we are talking about the teaching focus, the inner awareness, the antar yoga. His path was very unique. Okay, his path, Totapuri Maharaj's path was very unique and guided, seeking directly experiencing the self, Atma Brahma, Atma that is beyond about all the duality, knowing as this is like very beautifully a tantra practice which is being done. It is Shunya Tantra, or we call it as Jnana Tantra. Shunyavada Tantra is actually, Tantra is in the, like 112 ways of Tantra has been practiced in that day's time. And though among those very great sages, which was being taught by none other than Adiyogi to all the Saptarishis, and from Saptarishis, many great sages got into that practices, and few of the greatest masters, the greatest teaching till dated we are able to hear is, few of them are actually we are able to. One among them is Totapuri Maharaj. Shunyavada Tantra or Jnana Tantra was very beautifully about connecting with the Atma to the Atman, to the Brahman. Okay? And here the Tantra in the Totapuri's teaching was very beautiful, very, very, very connective. Like when people hear about the word Tantra, they often think, as I told you, like mantra, rituals, yantra, sitting somewhere. Now, he always grounded the information, he always shared it is all about union of pure consciousness with the energy, and that pure consciousness is none other than Paramashiva, Shiva himself, and that energy, Shakti, within the heart, making them merge the pure consciousness with energy is what the Totapuri Maharaj was able to tell as Jnana Tantra. He focused on Shiva Tattva majorly, like he was like a practice, like pure and a formless consciousness. He practiced this particular lineage practice. He followed this. His practice was deep, somewhat like a consecration, dharana, and the meditation, dhyana. Dharana and dhyana was surrounded through the his thoughts, as well as resting towards witnessing the thoughts, witnessing the dharana, witnessing the dhyana was actually his real practice. This path was actually called Nirguna Tantra as well as Shunya Yata Tantra. Reason was very simple. Shunya, Shunyata is the word which comes from the word as Shunya, and you would all be knowing Shunya is nothing but emptiness. You know, even that actually entire cosmos was created from that emptiness. And talking about some creation, but in that creation, the emptiness, the Shunyata is much more broader. And seeing that broader sense of awareness is where Totapuri Maharaj was able to share such kind of a secretive knowledge to us, that the let's take it as the fertility of the ground where all the creation arises from that emptiness. The fertility of the ground where all the creation arises from that emptiness, and that is Shunya. Shunya Tantra, he claimed that actually this is the highest form of getting connected to the Paramashiva, the particular Shiva Tattva, cutting, cutting all the thoughts, cutting all the barriers, making Advaita, me and you are the same. This thought process was actually embedded by Adishankaracharya in his lineage actions through the people or through his disciples of Totapuri Maharaj. Totapuri Maharaj lived as a naked monk. He always used to walk without any dresses. He had renounced everything. He had renounced everything, including he thought that Pancha Tattva, once he renounced, he became the greatest aspirant of Mahadevi. He was the greatest sadhaka of Dashamahavidya. Here we talk about more into aspect of one particular Swarupa. No, Totapuri Maharaj had a siddhis of all Dashamahavidyas, including the Kamakyama. Here what we need to understand is not about the particular siddhi what I am trying to gain. These are the people who taught us that we are living, we are breathing in that particular energy vibration lands and tattvas where still we will be able to get that essence. It doesn't mean that actually we need to become like that. No, they have crossed multiple thousands of life to become what they were that time. And for us, unless we know about the Guru Tattva, unless we know about the blessings what he has poured in our this life, entering or thinking or about being part of him is just a speech or just a spiritual entertainment of as few of them see. Totapuri Maharaj was renouncing all the worldly attachment and even ego, seeing the readiness. He had actually started, and we will connect back to the story back when he was coming from the place where actually where tapas of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa was sitting and he was trying to do the tapas. And we talked that actually even from the Kurukshetra, Totapuri Maharaj came. So the story, whatever we told now, it is about the beautiful connection of Totapuri Maharaj. But now we will connect topic to the essence, how exactly Totapuri Maharaj, when he came, he was a naked person. He came to that cremation ground where actually he was able to see readiness of, or seeing that readiness, preparedness of Ramakrishna's heart. He was able to feel very beautifully that this person is now ready to receive the pure information of the Shiva Tattva, the pure consciousness with the Shakti, which is none other than Atmalinga, the information about Paramashiva, that is knowing the Shiva Tattva. That's where he passed on his teaching to the formless absolute. He was able to tell that Atma with Atmalinga, or we can call it as Atma with Paramatma with Brahman, is the ultimate stage where we all need to go. That is what he was able to teach to the Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, because he was ready. He was ready. He was able, just by seeing his glance, he was even able to know that this particular person is ready for the next step now. Here, in this particular Panchavati, the story what we started with, in the mystical state, what we need to understand is, in this particular, when he was teaching the information, he was trying to teach, mold, as well as govern Ramakrishna Paramahamsa as what really the connection between the Kalima as well as the Shamavidya was there. He was trying to tell about all those rituals as well as a state of a radiant information. He was able to grab it and he was able to pour it to Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Here it had one day that Totapuri Maharaj was performing the yagna, the fire rituals, in the cremation ground in the Panchavati, where actually he was, when he was while he was performing, he was so surrendered and he had some thought that I am performing. A strange thing happened on that particular night. A naked, a shining, a wild eye person, unshaken person came in front of him, and that was Ashtami Ratri. Totapuri Maharaj was unshaken that time. He did not tremble because a person has already come. He is doing a havan, yagna. The person is already come to bestow him. Here, when Totapuri Maharaj was able to, while performing the havan, he was able to see the person in front of him. He just saw and he asked the person by folding his hands, "Who are you? Why are you here now?" And the person, I believe you would be knowing it, he told that I am a king. I am the guardian of the entire cremation ground. I am the Rakshaka. I take care of entire this creation of this Kala. This creation, none other than entire Shushti, is my presence. This was Mahakala Bhairava. Mahakala Bhairava, his Divya Swarupa, Totapuri Maharaj was able to see him and he was able to bow down to him. And that moment, what we need to understand is that at that moment, Totapuri Maharaj, sharp, non-dual wisdom melted actually. That primarily divine energy, he thought always that actually Shakti is everything. He thought that actually merging into him, he was able to think that that particular wisdom was always perfect. But here what Bhairava was able to tell, his wisdom melted. His primal divine energy got to know, aware that Bhairava is everything. He was able to open up his particular third eye sense of a wisdom. Totapuri Maharaj immediately bowed down and respected, or bowed down into the feet of Guru Bhairava. He spoke out with a very beautiful lines, telling that Deva, I am able to realize Brahmin as Brahma. I am able to realize why I am trying to tell you this particular line is, at that given point of time, Brahmin was a highest, even till it is a highest level of caste, because this caste is actually very near to Brahma, because they can, the Uchcharana, the Sambhavana, the Dharana, it is being taught from that lineage. So this was a word which was being spoken by him, stating that I have realized Brahmin as a Brahma. Now I see even the guardian of the death is rooted to the same truth, that he is Brahma himself. This particular situation made Totapuri Maharaj realize that Bhairava is the foundation. Bhairava is everything to reach to Ma. And to reach to the Ma, it is not so easy. Just by speaking, telling that actually family tradition is being practiced, it is self-practice. And the practice comes, even Totapuri Maharaj took so much of long time even to realize this Bhairava Tattva is very, very essential. He was able to tell Daiva, Bhagavanta, I see Brahmin in Brahma, but seeing you, as a guardian of the death, in the rooted in the same truth, is what I'm able to feel it. That was a beautiful statement, what he was able to give, a statement of awareness to all of us. The awareness that Guru Bhairava Tattva is the foundation of all essence, which as a sadhaka we need to know. Whatsoever the Devi puja, aradhana, we will be able to perform. Ultimately, we need to reach there. To reach the Shakti, the consciousness need to be activated. That consciousness, that foundation, you may think that actually I'm ready. Even the greatest monks took thousands of lifetimes. That is the reason I always tell, don't be hopping between one Swarupa to the other Swarupa. Here, Bhairava is the complete Shakshatkara. He is able to tell that he is in so many forms. In Dashamaha Bhairava, this is what actually we are trying to understand. How Mahakala Bhairava is able to enlighten so many of masters. The next day, coming back to the story, the next day it happened, like next day morning, when Totapuri Maharaj went, he was sitting in the dhyana. Ramakrishna came and he bowed down to his master. So quietly he confirmed, yes, I have seen him too, the wild and the sacred. At the first, I did not recognize him, but when he spoken with a joy of flooding of this particular being, I was able to realize. I asked myself to him that not to enter the village, but he only laughed. He is not there. He is in a garbhagriha of everyone. He is actually reciting in everyone's breath. None other than as a Atma, as a Paramatma, he is there. This is what actually the story or Totapuri Maharaj was able to tell to Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. See, Totapuri Maharaj, to talk about him, his tantric stories, maybe if time reveals, we will talk about that. But here, as today, we are talking about our Ishtartha Guru Bhairava, Mahakala Bhairava. So we will continue about that particular story topic. See, here, what we need to understand is, in the particular time frame, at that particular stage, Ujjain was being considered as one of a cosmic seat of the awareness, because one as a Jyotirlinga, Shipra Nadi. Shipra Nadi is actually one of it is in the bank of Shipra Nadi. Okay, it lies. It is a timeless city of Ujjain. Ujjain city, same like Mokshanahari, is also called timeless city. Time, with even the time before creation of the time, this particular city was created, which was known as Avanti Nagara. In very past, I can call it as like in the Sanatana Dharma, these were the names, or these were in the Raja Maharaja College, these were the names actually which was been recited. The Avanti Nagara, today's Ujjaina, the city of timelessness, it was not merely city of living yantras or Deva Swarupas or actually the temples. It was a particular sacred geometrical field where Mahakala Bhairava resides in all the form there. Entire Ujjaini Mahakshetra, Raja Mahakala Bhaireshwara is called as a Maharaja of the Ujjaina. Here he has been because that particular Nagara, the Avantika Nagara, is actually a geometrical yantra, where in that yantra, the Jyotirlinga of Mahakal is being consecrated. Here we need to understand one thing: Mahakala Bhaireshwara resides in complete Ujjaina. And this is the land where even you just need to know Ujjain is not just other land. It is like a land of where Sri Mahakrishna or even Balarama, or even like we can tell like Rishis, if you want to talk about Sandipa Maharishi, or even the greatest poems of till dated, even people know as Kalidasa, where his greatest poetry, which was a fire till dated, which was written with a king, Bruhati, I believe. Okay, where he was able to articulate all those poems of the Devi, because he was the biggest Kali Aradhaka. Kalidasa is like, he became Kalidasa. People call it as Kalidasa because of the poetry. The way he was used to call the Ma was like unimaginable. Here, Bruhari, he was a closest friend of, he had a Navaratna, or we call it as 9 greatest poet in his um, Rajya, or we can call it as in his emperor, where one among them was actually Kalidasa. Here, why I'm trying to connect this story is we need to understand about Ujjaini Nagara. This is the Nagara of the greatest people who have walked through. And even you need to understand why I'm trying to tell this particular information is Kalidasa, the king, Bruhari, is also we can call it as the he renounced the throne and he entered into the Bhairava sadhana. Just make sure this, because Kalidasa made the king Bruhari that first to step into the Kali Tattva, one should enter into Bhairava, and Bhairava sadhana is a foundation. Without Bhairava foundation, Bhairava foundation is in such a way it sand it actually creates our the strength, the strength in such a way that it becomes a freshness to the sadhaka. It becomes the atma jnana to the sadhaka, so that he can realize. This cannot happen in one given lifetime. Try to understand. Even if you are doing the ucharana of the Bhairava, it is only his grace. You are able to talk about him. Even if you are trying to listen till now, it is only his grace you are able to listen. Many people actually, they will fast forward. Maybe they will actually exit seeing that, as I told you, spiritual entertainers. I am not a spiritual entertainer, nor you are seeing any kind of a spiritual entertainment videos. Here we are talking about the greatest tattva which has been opened up us, such that actually we know about him in one step closure. This is where actually Bruhari, the Kalidasa, was able to introduce him to the Bhairava sadhana. That is the reason the greatest sadhakas, even Kalidasa taught the Bhairava sadhana first. He told that he had took 17 janmas to even to come to the Kali. Because praying to the Kali, going to the next to the Tarama or to the Tripura Sundari, we may feel that actually these are the stages, or people may call that actually one particular Swarupi of the Daiva is everything. As we are trying to say about Ujjaini is not just a place, it is not about a some city. As we told, it is a Avanti Nagara. The Mahakala Bhairava entire he is reciting there as the geometrical field. He is in form of yantra. As we spoke, like even the Bruhari was able to take into the Bhairava sadhana, because Kalidasa was able to take him to this particular journey. Because unless you go through this, the ultimately we cannot call it as ultimate. See, people take this as a very wrong perception, thinking that actually that is an ultimate. This is actually a cycle, and the cycle can only completed only when actually you are in a repetitive mode. People will think that actually I have done particular sadhana, I am done and dusted, now I need to go to the next level. No, you cannot. Unless you repeatedly perform, you get that dharana, the practice will become your part of your life. It will become one among your life. Then only you are ready for the next stage. And next stage is not like somewhat like you are ready. He will show you certain signs. He will make you aware that now you are ready, or someone in the form of the Guru Tattva would be able to come in front of you and will be able to disclose this. Coming back, here Mahakaleshwara Devasthana, Mahakaleshwara temple, where here is like where Bhairava is worshipped in both Saguna with the form and the Nirguna. beyond the form here. Here, all of us may be thinking that it is a Mahakala Shiva Linga representing the Pharisee destroying of the time, as he is the king of the master of the time. Here we spoke, the person in the first episode we spoke about that. He's a he's above the Kala. He's actually Mahakala, but in a silent mode, but in a silent observer. He is a pure consciousness. Here, what we need to understand is in Mahakala Jyotirlinga, whoever visit that particular place, these are the two forms actually which they will feel this presence. Maybe you may be one among them who have felt this, like his presence in this Saguna and Nirguna. Saguna is the form where actually people go for to see him and do a checklist that actually I have gone to all this Jyotirlinga. Unless you see the Nirguna Tattva in the particular Swarup of the Daiva, it is not a complete at all. Here, Mahakala Shivalinga, whatever we see today, is actually a Swarup of duality. It is of a Nirguna as well as Saguna. This particular temple, what we need to understand is, as we being a practitioners of a Bhairava consciousness, we need to understand one thing. When we see the temple, especially which is connected to the Shiva Tattva, which is Bhairava, the foundation, we need to understand this temple is not an ordinary. It is the heart of a powerful Tantra traditions. Vamachara, Kaulachara, Kapalika, Aghora, these things are not being spoken, but it is a practice. It is not actually like a institutional academy that we will teach all these things. Or I am a guru, I will be able to teach all these things. This is the Guhya Vidya. This is the secretive information. Why I am trying to tell this to you? Because you are stuck till now to listen this video, and you need to know there are certain greatest Jyotirlinga temples where still such kind of traditions are being practiced. Because unless there is a particular see, there is no major difference between Kalas and Dakshinachara and Vamachara. Here, many of them perform something called as a Madhyamachara, which is kept above than Dakshinachara and Vamachara, because in a samsara, or in the place of the realm where we stay, where we do even the office job, we need to do, that is a dharma, and we need to take care of our internal dharma also, knowing about the tattva. Here, Madhyama Marga is actually much more prominent. This is where actually these temples are the powerful heart of such tantras. Even they include Panchamakaras, Madhya, Mamsa, Masya, Mudra, as well as Maithuna. See, here I can tell you that it is not inside the temple, but the premises, Ujjaina. Still, that particular tantra has been followed in that Punya Bhumi. This is not a indulgence, okay, or somewhat like creating you that misconception of that particular Bhumi. No, it means to dissolve the condition of awakening primordial wisdom within you. You need to understand that these Panchamakaras are the foundation of the Tantra. And these 5 M's have always taught us. We have spoken multiple times about this, but still, Madhya, Mamsa, Matsya, Mudra, as well as Maithuna is actually a doorway. These are the doorway, the Panchamakaras are the doorway to enter into the premises. But it is not the ultimate offerings. Offerings are being done, but to enter into the premises. The sacraments, we need to understand, these are the sacraments, okay, meant to dissolve the condition of what we have, the primordial awareness or a wisdom to open up. These are the portals, or these are the steps actually which will make you to aware. Here, what you need to understand is, even in Bhasma Abhisheka, maybe actually as a piece of information I would like to tell. During the Bhasma Abhisheka, which is starts at the 3 a.m., okay, 3 a.m. in morning, technically to the public it is opened by 3:34, but actually it starts much more earlier. Okay, the linga here, the abhishekam, the ashes are from the cremation ground. You would be knowing it. It is not every bhasma or every mm, ashes will be offered to Shivalinga, only particular ashes. And to know that, maybe in some other video we'll talk about that. Okay, here even in Kapala, the madhya is offered. Okay, it is believed that Mahakala consumes 40% before even giving a darshan to the outside of the world at 4 a.m. before the Bhasma Abhisheka starts. The remaining becomes prasada. Here we need to understand one thing. It is not about the caste, it is not about the creed, it is not about the gender, it is not about the process, it's not about the things which is being done. It is hidden information which is not been disclosed, because these informations are very very secretive to disclose to the external world, that even in the greatest places still they are being performed, because Shiva has taught this. None other than Shiva himself has taught that there is no difference, major difference between Dakshinacharya and Vamacharya, because only little bit of traditions changes, little bit of, a bit of the way we approach to the deity get changes. Here, basically, as we being from a sadhakas, from a Bhairava Guna perspective, Bhairava consciousness perspective, what we need to understand is these are the essence which will make us to a step closer to him. But this is not mandatory. As I told you about the story of Totapuri Maharaj, we need to know, unless we have the internal connection of knowing the Atma, Antar Yoga, which we spoke about, Antar Yoga, Bahir Yoga, a self-awareness, Shunya Tantra, unless you reaches to the Shunya Tantra, Jnana Tantra, Tantra is reached to your Jnana and you know everything, and you know the vision that actually, how exactly I need to invoke my Devata, that's where actually we need to go. As we, these are the worship which is being performed at that particular bhumi to activate the Bhairava Tattva. Here the wisdom presides very simple. It is not about the ritual. See, one need not undergo sufferings to attain the siddhis. Let me just tell you very simple. Why people do all these things? To attain the certain siddhis. Here, Mahakala Bhairava shows the direct of the path. Siddhi is nothing but, he tells that actually you can be the master of it. Even if you can be a master of riding the cycle, even you can be the master of cooking, even you can be the master of convincing someone in your company as a sales marketing manager, or you may be very good in your technical skill sets. You may be actually like a developer or a software coder, where you can become a very good developer in that particular stream. These are siddhis in our simple Sanskrit connecting way. These are the siddhis, and these things are the bestows, are the actually gifts of the Daiva. You may be thinking that I also do a coding, he also doing coding, but he is better, does a better coding when it being compiled, but I am not able to do it in a better way, or the analyze of the coding, or the particular sequence of the particular codes, I'm not able to decode it, but he is able to. How is this possible? This is because he has done a siddhi of that particular tattva. That siddhi is none other than coding siddhi. Similar to cooking siddhi, it may be a different types of siddhi. It may be like riding siddhi, it may be talking siddhi. So here our Guru Mahakala Bhairava is telling that he will show the direction of the path, that you will become the master of that particular place, master of that particular sequence. Few of may ask this particular, what is mantra siddhi basically in Bhairava compassion perspective, mantra siddhi. See, I'll touch very on a very very lighter note, because this is a very broader topic when it comes to, see, mantra siddhi is like a spiritual evolution of yourself to the connecting to the tattva, daiva tattva, into the different realms. And mantra siddhi actually goes hand in hand with two types of perfections. Siddhi is nothing but, you can call it as a perfections, as I told you about coding siddhi. Okay, so similarly, as we spoke, here there are two types of siddhis which we need to know. One is yoga siddhi, one is mantra siddhi. As from a Bhairava consciousness perspective, these are the things which is very essential. Yoga Siddhi is somewhat like realizing a deepest thought, that deep meditation and samadhi. The foundation is sadhana, is ultimate. Second, mantra siddhi, awakening the divine force through the precise mantra repetition. And in this Kali Yuga, Nama Japa is the biggest mantra siddhi one can attain. Among this Yoga Siddhi is a, people call it as a supreme, and yet mantra siddhi can shake the heavens also. Okay, even the mantra is alive till dated, it is alive. That is the reason we till dated recite each mantra which is being given by Shiva himself as a Dakshinamurti. When he was able to speak up all these mantras to all Saptarishis, this is what we got to know. Yoga Siddhi is the supreme. Mantra Siddhi can shake even the heavens, even the Daiva Loka it can shake. Enter Trideva used to come to us in front of us. And you have heard the stories. Even in all the yugas, Nama Japa mantra is the powerful, very, very powerful. Unless you do it, even whosoever has got a siddhi or attainment of the God, the greatest monks, even they used to do the Nama Japa mantra siddhi. It is very, very essential. That is the reason in the Bhairava Anugraha, we always give much preference to mantra. That is Nama Japa mantra, which is very, very, very essential. That two, three, many people ask me like, why I have been doing from many ages, why I need to again do 144 days of sadhana or mandala sadhana. We always tell it is a precise mantra repetition which will make you much more beautiful. Just understand. Don't think this actually I have failed in this particular class. I need to again go to sit in the same class and I learn something. Every day in the Bhairava consciousness is a new beginning, is a new knowing, is a new visual, is a new way of connecting to the Guru Tattva, and that can happen only by his Bhiksha. And his Bhiksha in such a way that in this life you are able to take his name, do Namaswaran of him, know about him, be in that particular void where actually you get diluted, you get one among that Bhairava Tattva. And that can happen only through Nama Japa Mantra Siddhi. So please try to understand it is not only two. In Yoga Siddhi, Mantra Siddhi. In Mantra Siddhi, this is very, very essential. This actually, I'll connect this information. Why this particular topic came is reason is in Adishankaracharya, while traveling from Kashmir, when he was going on the way, he encountered Kapalika. Kapalika is being considered where Kapala fall into the Kashi Khanda, where we call it as Lat Bhairav. Today it is called as an Lat Bhairav, the place of Bhairava. Maybe in our shorts, YouTube shorts, you may have seen that particular Arati of Lat Bhairav. It is Kapalika. Kapalika, when the master of Bhairava mantra, there is one particular fell in that particular place, he was able to listen one particular Kapalika mantra of the Bhairava. Here, Kapalika, there is a particular beautiful story on that particular sequence. Why particular that Kapalika called Shankara to debate, and he lost. You know that actually Shankaracharya did not lose to anyone, but here he lost. But with a fierce smile, he told Shankara that don't rejoice yet. You have won through the intellect, but your face, the spirit, you ignored. Here, Bhairava loses in front of Shankara because it is a debate. Because that's what actually Shankara used to do. He used to debate with every sadhakas, every sages, every saints, talking about particular tradition, particular the tradition lineage which was being followed. That's where the Advaita came into actually a picture, non-duality. Here, Guru Bhairava was able to tell him that don't rejoice yet. You have won through the intellect knowledge, but your face, the spirit you ignored. He performed a ritual, summoning the Bhairava with the mantra, particularly Avana mantra, to put it into a sample. Okay, the Bhairava, the particular Kapalika, the particular mantra Siddhi, which was being gained by that particular sage when he was starting debating with the Shankaracharya, when he uttered this particular mantra, Bhairava mantra, Avavami mantra, okay, he called Bhairava, this man who spread the Advaita is disrespecting the order. He called in that particular lines, and Bhairava appeared very wild and very radiant because it is in that place of his own premisery. This presence even threw Shankara into the trace. Like Shankara was trembling, he was awake and composed and that's where actually even this secret we have already told and revealed. This information is also shared in particular in Ashtakam, Bhairava Ashtakam Rahasya. This is the moment where Adishankaracharya Guru was able to disclose in the front of Kapalika when he lost and when he called Bhairava. It is not actually from Siddhi he was able to get it. When he was traveling, Kapalika actually being a monk, he told that actually do a debate on me. And while doing the debate, he lost it and he told that actually you maybe have won with the intellect but not with the face. Let me call my guru or my daiva. And when he called Bhairava, when Bhairava came, Shankara for a minute he trembled, but he got to know the radiance of that particular Swarupa. Immediately he was able to compose the Ashtakam, a glorifying of the Bhairava till dated. All of us we are able to recite and take a benefit out of it. It was a gift from Shankaracharya. Here, in this particular storyline in Kashmiri Shaivism, it has been said that after composition of the Bhairavashtakam, okay, Bhairava was able to speak. Our Guru Bhairava was able to speak to Adishankaracharya, telling that Advaita has its place, but do not deny the path of form, because you see me now as a form. A duality exists until it is fully transcended. You get to know that there is none other major difference between non-duality and duality. There is still the form. And spreading half truth as a full truth brings karmic weight. And he warned both the Kapalika and Shankara that wisdom must balance the force, debate must hold the humanity with humility. Here, that is the reason Guru Bhairava will always, he knows what to balance. When that particular sequence happened, when Kapalika called Shankara, Shankara debated, all these things happened. Even when he was able to do a Ashtakam, able to please Bhairava, still he was able to give a Guru Tattva, telling him that Advaita has its place. Yes, it has a place, but do not deny the form. Till dated, we as a Sanatanis, why we do this? Because this is a full transcendence. As we being in a human consciousness, we can get connected to the human fully transcendence with the forms. For example, if I talk about a mother, a ma, you will be able to recall your mother. When I tell ma, the word I tell ma, the first thought in your mind comes to your own mother. It is not like someone's, the mother of the next neighbor or person. You may feel that actually his mother should be my mother. When the word ma comes, the first image what you get is your own ma, due to which you are here today. That is what Guru Bhairava was able to teach both Kapalika as well as Shankaracharya, that wisdom must balance the force. The duality is there, Advaita is there in its place, but form is much more important. All these things, why is happened is later it is like Padmapada. Later in Padmapada, Shankara's tantric disciple and the mantra siddhi of Narasimha, when he wrote it, he dictated that Shankara was suffering due to the black magic. This has been written. The Padmapada actually, he has written this, and due to the mantra siddhi from Lord Narasimha, he performed the ritual to remove and protect the Guru with unwilling devotion. This happened. Padmapada has written this, but Shankaracharya has not told. But Shankaracharya's disciple who had written this as Padmapada, he told that during this sequence, there was a black magic which was being done. So what we are trying to understand is, unless his grace is there, nothing can be eliminated from this life. Even when we talk about Mahakala Bhairava, Kali, we get to know, we all know that actually his concept is Mahakali. He who is a time beyond the time, and his beloved darkness concert is Mahakali himself. See here, what we need to understand is Mahakala Bhairava, he is beyond the time. When he is a very silent, he is that silence of the void, where creation tremble before even dissolving. Even when we call it as a creation is created and it is getting dissolved into the voidness, and that voidness is none other than Mahakala Bhairava. And that is a place where she dances. That is actually Kalikama, and that is Mahavidya. And the dark radiance of that supreme avatara, Mahakali, actually, let me just tell you this. Even here, the Shakti, Ma, is being recited like Kalika, Ramaha. In the Mahakala Bhairava's name, when we call it Kalika Ramanaha. What does that mean? Kalika Ramanaha is something like, not only the concept, he loves Kali in such a way in all the forms. Even she being she performing the crudest form of ritual, still she is a Shanta Kali. She is a Dhyana Kali, Mauna Kali, Dakshina Kali, Kripala Kali. This is the Mahavidya. Even Kalima is of different forms. This is where even Mahakala Bhairava is called Kalika Ramanaha. Even he is also called one more name, Kalika Nayanaha, the sovereigns of Kali. Her guidance flame is active because of him. His flame is active because of Kalima. Nayanaka, Kali Nayanaka, Kali Priyaka, the beloved of Mahakali. The fourth name, which is very connected to Kalima, is Kali Hridaya Jnana. He knows what is running in Kali's mind or heart. The knower of Kali's deepest heart is known by only one person, that is Mahakala Bhairava. Mahakala Tanoya Nayaha, the son of the born from the essence, the leader of the entire forces. Here, Bhairava, few of them tell that actually Bhairava is a concept, and there is certain Tantra also tells Kala Bhairava is actually son of Kali, because here the context is something different, because it is in the Shiva Swarupa. When actually he had drunk the Hala, he drinks the milk of the Mata, and that he becomes the child. That is the reason it has been said he is a son. Don't get into a actually mythological story connecting 1, 2, 3, 4 connection. No, you will never be able to understand this. This is actually a sequence which is happening into the multiverses, and it is actually not one particular sequence. It is happening in the different layers at a time, not merely form of the particular Swarupa. Mahakala Bhairava is entire merely the form of Shiva Tattva, Shiva himself. The very essence is Kali, dissolving when even his fiercest form, silence, Kali, get dissolved into him. Even if you ask Kali, people tell that Kali Swarupa is the ultimate. Try to understand, Kali also get dissolves. Kali also dissolves in Mahakala Bhairava, because he is the void. He is a silence. He is a form of the silence here. And that particular silence, the roaring sound of Mahakali get dissolves even in the Mahakala Bhairava. Here, her mirror, or what we need to understand is her stillness, her source. While Kali is a divorcing night, Mahakal may be like a womb of the night, a timeless flame from where the time itself rises. But Mahakali is actually that night. That is the reason we always tell one consciousness with the Shakti. That is the Daiva Tattva, that is Daiva Anugraha. In the deepest layer of the Tantra, where Kali divorces entire the universe, here it is, we need to understand that Mahakala Bhairava divorced the Kali herself. Here we are not talking about who is greater than whom. Here we are talking about Shiva Shakti Swarupa. Ma and Shiva, they are getting merged. Here it is Mahakala Bhairava divorced Kali herself, not in a destruction, but in an absolute union. And that is the union of a still awareness. Here, we may be seeing us as an anchor of her dance, witnessing the behind the entire storms, or she find a reflection in the. We may know, like actually, when Kali comes, it is about the trembling. She actually comes with such an energy. He finds expression, but here the expression is from the Bhairava. The moment is from the Bhairava. Even in Kalika Purana, even in Rudramalaya Tantra, even in few of the Tantra Rahasya, it is spoken that Bhairava, Bhairavi are not two. We have already spoken about this. But reflection of one vibrating stillness, and that stillness is Atma, and that Atma is Atmalinga. Just as Bhairava is not beyond the form, this concertship or this relationship, husband and wife relationship, it is too ordinary when we speak. It is a cosmic union. Don't be in a, when we call it as a concert union, no, it is not actually a human union. It's nothing. It is a cosmic union of Shiva Shakti. He knows her heart. She meditates on his silence. And together of their liberation, the soul will get illuminated. And that particular guna is Daiva Anugraha. That particular state is a pure one consciousness. This is the greatest secret of Kashi, which has been like Samaswa, where actually a still breathing sadhakas beyond the Mahakala, not only a destroyer of the time, but our beloved Ma, Kali, the knower of her heart can be known only by Mahakala, and that still flame within her storm is known by only by Mahakala. And that particular sequence or a liberation of that particular soul from the illusion can happen only by his grace, and that grace is none other than Daivanugraha. See here, why this matter to the seeker today, we need to understand. Not for the spiritual entertainers. This is for the real seekers. You see this not just as a tale of the gods or the Rishimunis, what we are trying to do. This is the map of our own inner journey. Like, let me put it into like this. Sometimes, even in our spiritual growth, a pride arise can enter very quietly. It has entered to the greatest sages who have walked into here, and till date we are taking their name. It has entered their hearts. What are we? We have just started. As an attachment to our meditation, our rituals, our purity, we may be thinking on this. This is what the inner journey we need to map ourselves. Second, what we need to know is we may not roar like Narasimha, or we may not roar like Mahakali, but inside we can burn too long with a sense of it, like, did I did this? I am a righteous here. Am I trying to know the truth, or I am trying to do any kind of a spiritual entertaining? Even in the past video, we talk about the story of Veerabhadra, where that Veerabhadra appeared here not as a challenge or a humble. It is a disruption, I agree, but it was humble. And through that particular challenge, Bhairava awareness created, not to destroy us, but to burn away what were no longer needed for us. Each story which has been said, it is all His grace is involved. Try to understand. Don't go or stuck into the particular sequence of the story, whether I need to do this or that. Understand where all our Guru Bhairava is present. Everywhere we see his presence is there, his story is there, his connection is there with all the greatest sadhakas integrated. And that how it can be done. It can not be understood as a sequence. It can be understood as an awareness. And that awareness only comes when you are ready. See here, what we need to understand, one simple thing is Mahakala Bhairava, he is a bridge between two things. He is a Nirakara, Akara. He is a form and formless. In the mystical or a mysterious heart, what we carry, what we do, a Bhairava Aradhana, we few of them may be thinking that it is totally wild. But let us understand, it meets total duality only when Mahakala Bhairava enters into our life. He is not bounded by any rules, any kind of other devata, 1, 2, 3, 4, as Veda describes. No, in Tantra, it is something different. Madhyama Marga, it's something different. Here it is not bounded by the rules, but that reveals the secret. Beneath all the rules, there is a thin line which we need to read. And that can be given or disclosed only by the Gurus. By with their graces, we are able to listen to him about now. Here we need to understand. Mahakala Bhairava, he drinks from the skull and yet grants the liberation. He is like, see, always we talk about it. Inauspicious is auspicious in Tantra. Here he resides in cremation ground, yet lights the path of the immortality. He makes sure that the sadhaka is going to go to his highest level of knowledge. Even in being in such kind of the complete negative packed bhumi, ranabhumi, the warfare or the cremation ground, Mahakala Bhairava does not destroy our outer anger. He burns and he will end, so that what really make remain is what? A pure form of sadhaka. And that path is not for the everyone who are social entertainers, spiritual entertainers. It is for the pure Pharisee lovers of the truth who want to walk in the path of Bhairava. It is only open up for them, and that can happen only by Bhairava's grace and the Daiva's anugraha, and that can be possible, and we can only see him when we are completely surrendered to him with not by knowing, with only by trying to know him. And that process sequence is what actually it will take us. Maybe this was all about Mahakala Bhairava. Even if we want to talk about Mahakali in the Mahakala Bhairava Swarupa, trust me, we can talk about hours together. So beautiful divine connection of their immense are there. In this Dashamaha Bhairava sequence, we will talk about more about Bhairava Guna and the connection factors of the Devi, who had given the tattva of whatever today, if he is a consciousness, and that consciousness is aware only because of Shakti, and that only Shakti is what the ultimate is all about. Om Bhairavaya Namaha. Om Hingulambikaya Namaha. Om Kamakyaya Namaha. Om Hingule Paramahingule Amritarupini Tanu Shaktimanashve Shri Hingulaya Namaha. Namaskaram.